it. And what else am I going to do? I'm going to move the camera to this one, which is better. So, yeah, that's better. Okay, great. So I think what I'll do is try and just keep an eye to see if anybody else wants to come in. So we're gonna move back onto our mats now. You're not on ready. And yeah, I've been talking the last couple of weeks actually about how we want to do it. So what, as I mentioned in the WhatsApp group, we wanted to give these classes more of a flavour of progression over the weeks and months, which I think is a good idea, because I'm thinking, well, you know, for all sorts of different reasons, but it's like it'll mean we don't get into a bit of a loop where we're just doing the same thing every month.
Darker?
So, yes.
Can't hear you so well.
Oh, that's no good. Okay, let me just check. Okay, yeah, I see what's happened. Yeah. Is that better? No.
It was when you moved away from the screen, you went really faint.
Yeah, I know. It's because I stopped using the earphones. Let me just see if it holds this time. Is that better? Should be all right now. Yeah?
Yeah, that's better. Thanks.
Okay, yeah, it switched the microphone. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna build up a sense of sequence over the next few weeks and months. And broadly speaking, we'll move through the grouping system, which we do in the teacher training, which is group 0 up to group 9, 10, 11, potentially. Although the higher groups will probably mix in earlier because they're sort of arm balances and shoulder stands and things. So today is going to be fairly gentle class, just to say. So that might be a good thing, or you might be wanting something a bit stronger, but it's going to be basically a floor-based class. It's going to be group 0. So we're going to be building on what Salata did, and I think he did a fairly gentle class last week. So it would be helpful to have a belt, and it would be helpful to have a few bricks. If you've got yoga bricks, if you don't have yoga bricks, you want kind of firm cushions or like a bolster as well. That would be helpful. And I'd like us to start in sitting position, okay? So what we're actually going to do is a breathing practice called Nadi Shodhanam. So Nadi Shodhanam is sometimes translated as Nadi are the channels, and Shodhanam is like cleansing. So it's a gentle breathing exercise. Ideally, you do it from diaphragmatic breathing. So you're thinking to orientate your breath lower down in the body. And we're going to do a very simple version this week where we close one nostril, exhale, inhale, close the opposite nostril, exhale, inhale. So there's a mudra, there's like a gesture which goes with this, which some of you will be familiar with. So the index finger and middle finger come down to the base of the thumb very lightly. The ring finger, fourth finger and fifth finger come together very lightly, and the thumb. So you make like a claw shape. I'll just show that a bit more carefully. Yeah, that's it. And normally it's done with the right hand. I mean, it's interesting. If you're a left-handed person, you might want to explore doing it with your left hand. My daughter is actually left-handed, and that she leads from the left. So it would probably be interesting to play with that. Should we be breaking some cosmic rule if we did that? But, why not? Okay, so just below the bridge of the nose, you're closing as you exhale and inhale, and then you switch sides, exhale and inhale. So we're always starting the cycle on an exhale. And we're going to do basically 3 rounds, exhale, inhale on each side. Okay, so I'll lead it through. We'll do 3 rounds of 3, okay? So first of all, you could close your eyes, bring yourself into a nice vertical shape with the spine. I'd like you to get a sense of being connected with the ground, grounded. And spend a moment to also connect with a sense of your mood. And at the emotional atmosphere, okay? Whether you're feeling stimulated, calm, or maybe like down, depressed. All sorts of variabilities within that, subtleties. And get a sense of the space around you as well. So the physical space. You could even do this practice with the eyes closed. I think that can help. So it is a grounding, centering practice, calming practice. Works really well at the beginning, but also works really well at the end of a session. Particularly if you don't have a lot of time to do, say, shavasana, like resting practice, you could substitute out to a certain extent this practice, Nadi Shodhanam. So I'd like you to bring your opposite hand, your left hand, onto the belly, just so we can connect with diaphragmatic breath. If we can have the belly resting at ease, you could say relaxed, even noticing if there's tension in the lower body, in the belly. And then we're going to make the mudra with the right hand. You're working out from the right hand. And on your next exhale, I'd like you to exhale and then inhale through the left. So you close the right, exhale, inhale through the left. Nice full breaths. Close the left, exhale, inhale through the right. Close the right, exhale, inhale through the left. Full expression of the breath. Close the left, exhale, inhale through the right. Exhale, inhale through the left, closing the right. Exhale, inhale through the right, closing the left. And release. Release the hands. So just to make this clear, so you want to let the breath completely fulfill itself. So all the way to the end of the exhale, all the way to the end of the inhale, no forcing whatsoever, no forcing. So if you need to go a slower or a faster rhythm, do so. You don't need to follow my rhythm. That was one round of 3, alternating between the 2 nostrils. We're going to do another round in a moment. Feel free to rest your left hand onto the knee or the thigh. So we're making the mudra with the right hand. And then exhale, inhale through the left, closing the right. Exhale, inhale through the right, closing the left. Close the right, exhale, inhale through the left. Close the left, exhale, inhale through the right. Close the right, exhale, inhale through the left. Close the left, exhale, inhale through the right. and release. Again, one round of 3 alternating. It's the second round. Observing the effect of the practice through the whole of your body, psychophysical experience. So the aim of the practice is one of calming and centering and focusing to a certain extent. Okay, it's fairly gentle experience. Very much emphasizing calming and centering and focusing. We're going to do one more round, just checking in on your posture, looking for the vertical axis, bringing up the mudra. When you're ready, exhale, inhale on the left, closing the right. Very light touch on the nose. Close the left, exhale, inhale on the right. Exhale, inhale on the left. Close the left, exhale, inhale on the right. Close the right, exhale, inhale on the left. Close the left, exhale, inhale on the right. And release the hand, release the mudra. For a few moments, eyes closed. Again, reconnecting with the grounding earth element, sense of the axis, vertical axis of your spine, moving up through the air element, toward the sky, the crown. And just, as I say, observing. So, our approach, or my approach, is certainly one of like gentle experimentation, exploration with these practices. So trying and seeing what they do. And this is a highly recommended practice in the yoga tradition, Nadi Shodhana. I mean, you could continue on doing rounds there. We've done 3 rounds of 3, which is a basic practice, but you could do like sets of 3, you could do 6, 9, 12, 15, and so on. If you want to spend longer doing that. Okay, from there now, we're going to open the eyes. We're going to move down to the ground. So as I said, this is going to be a fairly gentle session today. So hopefully that's going to be okay for you. So I'd like to come into semi-supine and feel the ground now below you on the floor. So this is going to be really familiar work for some of you, but practice is part of practice is a sense of coming back to repeating. So of course, our physical bodies change since we last practiced. Even our mind may have changed. So I want you to bring one hand onto each knee. And as you exhale, you float the knees towards you. And as you inhale, you float them away. And we'll repeat this movement, exhaling, floating the knees towards you, Apanasana, gentle mobilization of the lumbar pelvic area. Gently stimulating, massaging the lower back and sacrum. So you don't want to be on a too hard a surface for this, okay? This is a parquet floor, so I've got 2 mats underneath me. Exhale, floating the knees towards you, inhale away. Very simple Apanasana. From there, next time we exhale, I'm going to bring the legs towards us, keep them there, and then take the arms out into a T-shape and take both legs to one side. Okay, very simple supine twist, but try to keep both shoulders down. You'll notice that your opposite shoulder will float up. See if you can sink that back down to the floor. So we're very much thinking in terms of group zero here. So group zero is about grounding, arriving, calming. It's not particularly demanding physically, but it's a useful practice. It's got its place, right? So inhale, come to center. Exhale, go to the opposite side. So the benefits of a gentle practice is more accessible to more people. Seeing if you're teaching out to beginners. Also some more appropriate practice if you want to work more quietly. Say in the evening before sleeping, you don't want to be doing a really stimulating practice. Connecting with your breath. And then from there, inhale back up to center, back into semi-supine. I like to take your feet now as wide as your mat, if not even wider. So if it's possible, you take the feet just off your mat. The arms can stay in the T-shape. And we're going to do sometimes it's called scissor legs. So as you exhale, you swing both legs to one side gently with the breath. And as you inhale, you come back to center. Exhale. Scissor the legs to the opposite side. You'll notice that your one leg goes into external rotation, the other goes to internal. So just playing with that mobilization around the hip joint, highly mobile joint. So it's usually more comfortable doing the external rotation of the hip. So it's oriented that way, but the internal rotation is really useful. Stretching the upper outer thigh, which often gets quite tight. If you can explore taking your feet wider, go for that. Emphasizing more the internal rotation without forcing. Okay, so you don't want to be doing any stressing on the knee joint. Just gently mobilizing the hips, working alternately between internal and external rotations. I'm synchronizing with the breath as much as possible. So this really helps you, this moving with the breath really helps you to focus and center the attention. So you could call it, I would describe it as a mindfulness of breathing through movement, or movement combined with mindfulness of the breath. It's a really basic mindfulness technique of practice. So we're exhaling into the rotation, inhaling. Stand. The next time we inhale, come to center. Allow you to place your right ankle just above your left knee for a thigh stretch or a hip stretch. If you can, take your right hand through the legs and take hold of the left shin. Okay, the head resting on the floor, the neck extending. Static hold here. If you can, interlacing the fingers. If you're really tight here, you could thread a strap through and around the front of the shin. That would work fine. So I'm breathing here and I'm trying to release the shoulders. You notice to begin, there might be some holding on or gripping in the shoulders. So I'm really emphasizing in today's session the sense of letting go. So it's almost like, it's very much more like a mindfulness yoga rather than a more dynamic or hatha yoga, if you like. Just like being aware, very much aware in the poses, working slowly, gently, and being aware and mindful. But generally encouraging here an external rotation of the right leg, right hip. You'll feel this in the right groin. Okay, and releasing the hands, feet back to the floor. We place the left ankle just above the right knee and thread the left hand through and wrapping round. Observing the differences between the two sides of the body. Checking on your neck, checking in your neck, releasing the neck, jaw, face. See if you can release the shoulders. So it's a sense of holding on with the hands interlaced around the front of the top of the shin or behind the thigh on the right side, and allowing the weight of the legs to pull away from the chest, belly area, to create a very gentle lengthening through the tissues across the tops of the shoulders and upper arms. Although you may well predominantly feel this in the left groin, left buttock, okay? So it's actually, if you think about it, this pose is like a half lotus, Ardha Padmasana, but in supine, okay? Releasing the hand, releasing the feet down, come to stillness for a moment into semi-supine. Okay, yeah, one last thing here, lying down. So I want you to now bring the interlaced fingers around the back of the head and extend the legs along the floor. And then we're going to move the legs to the left. So I'm going to move first the legs to the left. So I'm moving towards the camera. Then I'm moving the upper body to the left. So I'm deliberately extending spine laterally, or the spine, the whole body laterally. So if that's easy enough, move the feet a little bit more, move the head and torso a little bit more. And another variation is to cross your right leg over the left. I quite like to work like that. So my right heel crosses over the left foot, both elbows down. And I'm actually going to look away from the legs. Okay, so I'm looking to the right, my legs are going to the left. Closing the eyes and really taking your awareness into lateralization, the experience of being in a lateral extension or lateral flexion. I mean, this is perhaps one of the issues here. So on a bit of a mixture of a flexion and extension, if that's possible, as we're extending the right side and we're closing the front side or flexing the left side. Okay, from there, unhook the feet, move back, torso to center now, go to the opposite side, so your legs go to the right. Torso also goes to the right. The gaze goes to the left. I'm going to hook my left foot over my right foot. Elbows staying gently pinned down to the floor, and you will feel a fairly satisfying stretch through the left ribs, left torso, even running off the floating ribs into the pelvis, like the pelvic rim, so it's lengthening the quadratus lumbarum, as it's called, which runs up the lower ribs onto the pelvic crest. Also, you're working like the whole of the upper body, upper rib cage area. I wouldn't like to say which muscles those are, but I can sort of imagine latissimus dorsalis involved. The intercostals to a certain extent. Okay, from there, releasing. And come back to semi-supine, readjusting yourself to center. We're going to now roll to one side, come round, and allow you to sit back onto your feet towards the back edge of your mat and come down into child's pose, okay? Resting your hands down by your side. This is, I've really appreciated this move. It's a really useful teaching device for getting people moving up from the floor as well. And it's just a very gentle work. So I want you to place one hand on top of the other and then place them on the top of the sacrum, so behind the pelvis. And you could go for full extension of the arms. So as you inhale, you sweep your arms wide and up and out. And you reach up, bring the palms together and look up. You've got enough space, and then you exhale, you sweep the arms wide again and back. So this is called Vajrasana, or diamond pose. Diamond thunderbolt pose. Inhale, you sweep up. We're combining 3 movements, arms, torso, legs, with the breath. Exhale. It's not really strenuous, but it is strengthening the thighs. It's helping to work the lower back, pelvis connection. Again, we're still threading through the mindfulness with the breath, movement with the breath, inhaling up. Also, it's you can include looking up, so you're taking your neck through extension as well. It's like basically if we need to move through a full range of movement with this practice. Part of the reason for doing yoga is to maintain your full range of movement. So if you stop looking up, your body will just find it harder and harder to do. So it's good to take body through these movements. Inhale, looking up for the exhaling back down. So if you can synchronize breath, body as completely as possible. So everybody's working at their own rhythm, really, here. One more. Coming up. And then releasing down the arms back down by your side, releasing the forehead down. Take a pause there, reconnecting with the breath. And on an in-breath, we're going to just sit up. So this is where the strap will come in. Now, we're going to spend quite a bit of time in sitting, in kneeling. So you could, to make it really gentle on the knees, you could sit astride some cushions or some bricks or the bolster. Allow you to get your belt. Or you could have like a towel here, like a thin towel. So again, this is really probably quite familiar. Well, it'll be more or less familiar, some of you more than others, okay? So we take the strap in the thumb and index. You can take hold of the belt fairly thoroughly. As we inhale, we take the belt up with the hands quite close together. And it gets to a point where you just can't go any further. So you take the arms wider gently and keep the arms straight and move through that full range of movement, taking the arms down behind you. And then we come back up. Okay, so that's the movement. You bring the hands together, sweep the arms up, you'll meet a limit, and without forcing through the limit, just expanding the space between the hands sufficient to move through, and you feel that moving into the shoulder area and then back. We'll do that 4 times more, four more times. Inhaling up, if you like, exhaling down. Remembering to shorten the distance. Obviously, if you take your hands really wide, you could do that actually. If you were working with somebody who's really got shoulder issues, you could take the arms really wide. So it's more like just a movement. But if you bring the hands closer together, you get that sense of actually really biting into the shoulder joint. Okay. So working into the shoulder joint. So you just, it's up to you how much work you do there. Okay. And then releasing for a moment. And take the left arm up. And the right hand you take behind you and in line into the medial line, sort of in line with your midline. Left arm is pushing up, right arm is pushing back. And we're trying to keep the spine as clearly as we can in the vertical axis. Just be careful about bending to the left or the right, forwards, backwards. So no lateral displacement of the spine or extension, flexion. Try and keep the spine long. Again, the more flexibility you got, you want to bring the hands closer together. Okay, so that will change, of course. Bring your right hand up. So if you haven't done this for a while, you'll notice the shoulders are just stiffer, basically. So the right hand goes up, left hand goes behind you. So in some ways, the belt here is like a support. It's like a prop. Well, it is a prop because we'll have a go at doing the full classic pose in a moment. Okay, and then release for a moment. Just release for a moment. Hands to the lap. Bring your hands maybe a bit closer together. Let's go to left hand goes up, right hand behind. Try to draw the shoulder blades down. Very simple yoga stretch or like a kind of like a pre-classical pose. The gaze can go out towards the horizon. Sense of being. You could even just for a moment close the eyes, really center yourself into the legs and the pelvis. Okay, and then releasing down and swinging around to the other side. Right hand goes up, left hand behind. So the right arm is gently pushing up. Left arm gently pulling into the medial line, to the center line. Arms straight if you can, locking through the elbows. And releasing. Once again, just release the arms down for a moment. Okay, so we're going to fold the belt in half and place it over the left shoulder. And then we're going to bring the right hand. So the right hand comes around the back of the body, and you see if you can position the right hand up between the shoulder blades. Let me just change position here. This is the classic Gomukhasana. The right hand comes around the back, and then your left hand goes up, reaches out and reaches down. And see if you can connect. If you can't connect, you can always use the belt to connect. And then without pushing the chest forwards, see if you can lengthen as clearly as you can through the upper spine, through the thoracic spine. So there is a real tendency here to push the chest forwards for some reason. I think it can create the sense that you can open more in the shoulders, but what we really want to be doing is lengthening through the upper spine. Elbows pulling away from each other, left elbow up, right elbow down. This could be really intense, okay, for some people. So if it's too strong, where you could even go for quite a long distance between the hands. If you can see that, I've really lengthened out the space, and my right hand is actually quite low, almost down to the pelvis. Okay, and then releasing. We'll put the belt onto the other side. My left hand is now going to come around the back of the body. I can use my right hand to help position the left hand, and then right arm reaches up. So it's important to get a sense of lifting out of the right shoulder before we fold and hook. So if you can hook the fingertips, that's fine. If not, take the belt, that's also fine. Adjusting the distance between your hands so you can make a connection. And then clarifying a sense of the axial lengthening, the clarifying lengthening through your upper spine towards the crown, lower body grounded. If you can relax, release there, sitting bones grounded. Coming very much into awareness of your own body. It's in relationship to the poses. So one way you could think about yoga practice is like a mirror. I mean, many things can be a mirror. I don't think we need to be limiting it to posture work, like, relationships, your work. Iyengar, quite funny, has this expression that the wall is my mirror, or the wall is my teacher, because you can, in a sense, the wall, I think in the Zen practice, they're just staring at the wall, so it's like a reflection of the mind. So bringing your body into relationship to the pose. We're going to release the fingertips or the belt. Carefully come off your support for a moment. I'm working really gently here. That's fine. Okay, post summer. Lengthen out through the back of each leg. Opening out the back of each leg. Okay. Good. Yeah. One last thing. So I'd like you to, in the sitting position, I'd like you to come into a cross-legged position. An easy cross, Sukhasana as it's called. This would be a great introductory class for those of you that are teaching. Okay, so crossing the shins, easy cross, thinking about the spine coming up into the vertical axis. Extend your arms out like two wings, and then we're going to take, I'll go to this way, I'll go to the left, my left, you can go whichever way you like. So you're thinking about lining up the left hand and the sitting bones, and then we're coming into a lateralization again, so you're opening the right side, so you want to really, it's like peg your right sitting bone down. So you don't want to be floating over to the left completely. Try to keep your right buttock down. So it's going to lift a bit. I can feel the sitting bone coming off the floor, but I'm trying to sink it back down. And extending through that side, right side of the body for a while. Inhaling, swinging back up to center, floating the arms to that mid position, and let's go to the other side. Opening out your left side. Yeah, it's interesting. I'm really noticing my left side is more open. Habitually, my right side is tighter. That's just really noticeable in this pose. Yeah. Breathing there, reconnecting with the breath as you inhale back to center and come into the vertical, being aware of both sides of your body. Close the eyes for a moment, releasing the shoulders, the arms. Okay, so we're going to come down. You want your strap. We're going to come down to the floor again and do a little bit of leg work with the strap. So this sequence, I often used to teach this the first day on these yoga retreats I used to teach in Dharmakosha in Scotland. It would be along these lines, just like an arriving practice. after a lot of people have traveled, on the way up to the Highlands. So this would be like an arriving practice. So I want you to fold up your left leg, for example. It's fine, do whichever leg you prefer. Hands interlaced behind the thigh, as close to the knee as possible. As we inhale, we extend the leg to the vertical. Exhale, release. We'll do that a few times. Inhale, extend towards a straight leg, pushing against the hands. Exhale, release. Again, quite gentle. Inhaling and release. And release down, switch sides to your opposite leg, right leg. Inhaling towards the vertical. Exhale. So not really worrying about at this stage. You're not concerning yourself with getting the leg towards a straight, completely straight leg. What we want to do is start to mobilize and lengthen the back of the leg. And maybe there's a proportion issue. It might be, this is quite a strain using the arm in relation to the leg. If your arms are not that long in relation to the leg position, it might be quite demanding. Okay, releasing. So I'd like you to bring both soles of feet onto the floor, get hold of your strap and place the belt across the left foot and move towards the left leg in a vertical but bent to begin with. Okay, I'll just give you a moment to get there. And then slowly feed the belt through the hands as you push the leg towards the vertical. So I quite like to play with the position of the belt. So you can, if you want to be more intense work, I would say place the belt across the ball of the foot. So that's the base of the toes. If you want a bit more stable work, you bring it across the heel. Okay, so it's a bit less intense. So we're moving towards now a completely straight leg if it's possible. And then the right leg extends along the floor. So the left leg in the vertical, right leg along the floor. And we're going to hold for a few moments, not holding the breath. Extending through both legs, broad across the chest and shoulders, arms. You can do this, like people like to practice this with the elbows on the floor. I think what that means is you can really work at broadening the upper body. So you could try that, but I personally prefer working it with the arms straight. You can still work at broadening across the shoulders, even if your elbows are not down. Okay, so I'm gently pushing, in my case, I'm pushing like the forward section of the heel into the belt. Wherever the belt is, you're gently pushing towards the belt, extending through the whole of the leg, particularly the back of the leg. And release. Okay. Semi-supine on the left side, right leg. Now, I'm placing it just forward of the heel and gently feeding the belt through towards a straightening leg. Okay, so it may go to straight. Feel that stretch. Might not be that comfortable. So we're regaining flexibility through the backs of the legs, lengthening through the backs of the legs. Really important area in terms of keeping a sense of the freedom in the legs, space in the legs, but particularly opening the backs of the legs helps to free up the pelvis, which helps to free up the lower spine. So it keeps the whole lower body looser, freer to move, unblocking, you could say, that area. So exploring arms straight or arms elbows pinned to the floor. Definitely more work for the upper arms, but you can play with then expanding or broadening more actively in the upper body. I guess it's more active version. Arm straight is more passive, lengthening of the arms. Okay, and then bending the right leg and releasing down. So we need to extend the arms above the head along the floor and down through the legs. You're making the body really long from the soles of the feet to the fingertips, really lengthening out there. Lengthening from the soles of the feet to the fingertips, making the body really long along the floor. Extending a little bit more, so making the body really long. And release. So this is where it's going to be helpful. So just come to one side to have, like, got all the gear here. Like the ideal thing would be a pile of these foam bricks. Okay, I'd go for 4. If you don't have bricks, you could use a bolster. If you don't have either of those, you want like a firm pile of cushions. I wouldn't use books, like really thick books, because it's going to be really hard on the body. So I'll do this with, you can see the bricks go to my side. Gosh, it's really like going back to basics. Okay, so slipping the bricks underneath you. So you're in semi-supine. Sorry, you're in Dvipadapitan. You're in the bridge pose, but it's supported. So it's pretty gentle, but it does give the benefits of gentle extension through this, particularly the lower spine, releasing the lower spine. You can, depending what you do with the arms, you can emphasize more or less the upper body. So yeah, if you want to work a little bit more thoroughly in the upper body, what I would do is extend the arms down by the sides, turn the palms up, and roll the upper arms out. So I'm definitely opening the upper back. Should I say, opening the upper chest, drawing the shoulder blades down. So I'm being a bit more active through the upper body, okay? Soles of feet on the floor. Bricks are supporting the pelvis and the buttocks. So again, it's a really useful position for everybody, but it's really useful when your students, or you're just getting into a gentle practice. There's a gentle back bend. So back bends are really important. We're always talking about back bends, and we'll be doing lots of back bends, but this is a really gentle, like group 0 back bends. You're getting an extension of the spine, but it's not too strenuous. It's supported. You can emphasize expanding more through the upper body, or just have the upper body quite quiet. I'd like us to transform this now into Viparita Karani. So float the legs up to the vertical. So if you can, bring the legs together. You probably want to be a bit gentler with the upper body now. So I'm extending through the legs, bringing the legs to the vertical. It's going to a bit of downwards pressure on the back of the pelvis. It's broadening across the back of the pelvis. Also, you want to be releasing the neck. So this is like very preliminary, moving into a shoulder stand, which I forget which number that is, like group 9 or 10, can't remember now. And so to be very beneficial to go upside down. One of the basic reasons is because of the lymphatic circulation is passive in the body. So as we know, as the blood's flowing around the arteries and the veins, capillaries, there's a release of fluid, like the fluid that suspends the blood, if you like, very thin fluid called lymph. So that filters out and gets collected up through the lymphatic system, and then it flows back to very close to the heart area. It refeeds into the aorta, come back into the bloodstream. Because you could, in theory, you can almost imagine like the blood, the lymph flowing back down through the leg into the upper body. In fact, I would say, that's my experience. I remember, whenever you get lymph accumulation, you lift the arm, for example. That's quite common in injuries or in serious illness where someone's quite static. You get a build-up of fluids in the limb. So by just mobilizing the limb and moving it higher than the body, you get that circulation moving out and blocking, you could say. Okay, so from here, bring one foot at a time down to the floor, coming back into semi-supine. Let's emphasize once again, opening the upper back for a few breaths. Lifting your pelvis and removing the bricks. Okay, so they could go to either side, one side. Getting them out of the way, coming back into semi-supine. We're going to roll around. And let's check. Okay, so we're going to use these bricks. I want you to put them towards this is going to get a little bit more demanding now. So I'm going to put 2 bricks on either side of the mat. You could work without bricks here. Come into kneeling and then into all fours. So I've got one hand on each pile. You could also use cork bricks here, those like smaller cork bricks. I want you to step one of your legs forwards. I'm going to bring my left foot forwards. So I'm going to work my easier side first, okay? So I know that my left side is generally more open, more easily. You can come up on the fingertips or be on the palms. And what we're going to do is we inhale, we're going to swing the pelvis forward and even lift the chest. As you exhale, I'm going to just gently swing back, and you can even lift your toes. And then inhale, swing forwards. Gently moving into the lunge, okay? Inhaling forwards, gaze forwards, chest forwards, pelvis forwards. Exhale, moving back. You can even lift the toes. So you are going to experience like stiffness or tightness in the backs of the legs if you haven't been doing this regularly. Inhale, swinging forwards, exhale, back. This is like a basic movement of lunge. And as we know, lunge can be really developed into a whole practice in itself. One more time, coming back and forwards. Inhale, exhale, release back. So if it's not feeling good on the knees, then do feel free to put more padding under the knees. Release back into child's pose. Releasing the shoulders, releasing the hips. Inhale into all fours. Bring your other leg forwards. Right in my sense. So you can have the back toes tucked under or not, it's up to you. Inhaling. So actually tucking the toes under might protect the knee a little bit more if that ground is feeling a bit hard. Exhale, we flow back. I'm lifting the toes. Inhale. Lifting forwards. So it's a really gentle lunge, flow lunge. Inhale. Forwards, lifting chest, lifting gaze. Exhale, folding into the forward leg. You could try without bricks. The bricks are there to support, really. One more time, coming forwards and back, or backwards and forwards. Inhaling to all fours and then releasing back once again into child's pose. But I'd like to take your knees a little bit wider and thread your arms through the legs, if that's restful for you. Okay, so the inner legs are gently pressing into the outer arms, or the outer arms into the inner legs. Reconnecting with the breath. Breathing, reconnecting with the breath. Coming back into awareness of the breath, what we call mindfulness of breathing. Be really gentle. Inhaling, unwinding. So if you can, just for a moment, sit on the feet in the Virasana. So just like you to bring your arms up in front of you. So it's just occurred to me, like it's spontaneous. So I just want you to circulate the hands to mobilize the wrist joint. Okay. So I'm mainly thinking about the wrist joint. Okay. So gently mobilizing. So there is, yeah, we don't often emphasize this practice of wrist. You can find some really good wrist sequences on YouTube. Yeah. Okay, so you're going in one direction, switch direction, go in the opposite. Mainly emphasizing the wrists. Okay, then I'd like you to bring your left hand onto the right fingers and just gently push the right hand away to stretch the underside of the wrist. So my left hand is resisting the right arm, and release, and do the same on the opposite side. So I'm pushing the left hand away from me to open the underside of the wrist. Just go back to the first side. So you could include the thumb. So I'm thumb, middle fingers, resisting into the left hand with the right hand. So emphasizing stretching the underside of the wrist area. And switch sides. Okay, now to work the other way, we're going to interlace the fingers. And this is like a classical pose. So we're going to push the backs of the hands up, squeeze the elbows in. Parvatasana, mountain pose, but I'm palms down towards the crown. Just show that from a different angle. So the palms down, probably been there way too long in Virasana. So bring the arms down. If you can, interlace the fingers the other way. If you still got, you can handle the knees and legs. So palms away from you. Sorry, backs of the hands away from you, palms towards you. Taking the arms up, squeezing the elbows in to lengthen the outer wrist, as it were, the top of the wrist. Okay, good. And release down. Okay, from here, we're going to come into Shavasana. Okay, so I'd like us to set up so we're going to be comfortable. So it's a really gentle practice. I'd like to do a little bit of Shavasana and a little bit of meditation. Okay, so we haven't really used the bolster. Well, I haven't used the bolster, but you can use it for Shavasana. So we're going to do like 4 or 5 minutes in Shavasana alone, and then come into sitting. So Taking care to lie down in a straight line. Make sure you're going to be warm enough. Separating out, as it were, the groins, the legs, separating the arms away from the body, so we're creating a sense of space under the arms. As the limbs are floating away from the joints, in a sense. And then picking up the head and lengthening the neck, the head away from the body. You can close the eyes. Try to once again feel the floor supporting you. Okay, so we're in as neutral shape as we can here. Getting a sense of the whole body awareness. Sadhata calls this like kaya sati. So it's kaya is body in Pali or Sanskrit. The whole body awareness. Sati is awareness, mindfulness. Whole body awareness. But then becoming, once you get into that whole body awareness, being in the field of the whole body awareness, start to be more specifically aware of different areas. So, you know, your yoga practice will bring out weakness, will show you where your weak points are, or your sore points. Even a gentle practice, sometimes a gentle practice can make you more, in some ways, more acutely aware of where your soft spots are. So embracing all of that with a sense of gentleness and kindness. Sense of releasing the legs away from the hip joint, the arms away from the shoulder joint. And then coming into anapanasati, so awareness of the breath coming in and going out of the body. So this is what we'll pick up and use as our focus, anapanasati. Mindfulness of the breath or the breathing. There's a releasing the body into the floor, into the ground, into the earth. You've got the sky above you, the air above you, around you. Checking back into kaya sati, so checking back into your body from time to time. And just going to be holding on in any place, let go. So this, what, yeah, part of the group zero work is letting go. It's not so stimulating, it's more like calming, grounding, rooting, letting go. So I'd like to bring movement into the fingers and toes. So we're not going to stay long there. You can always go back into Shavasana after the session if you want for a bit longer, but I'd like us to bring the knees in and then roll to one side and set yourself up into a sitting position. Again, it's going to be a short meditation, short session of Anapanasati. Getting a little bit, well, the necessary props that you need to be in meditation pose without too much faffing around. And we'll just check in once again with Kaya Sati, Anapanasati. So bringing yourself into vertical axis. So even like short meditations, been exploring that over the summer period. Just a few minutes meditating can be really beneficial. And just before the summer, I was listening to a presentation from one of the founders of Breathworks. And he was saying, there's so much benefit that's been proved from 10-minute meditations, like scientifically proven. Even though, maybe you're more accustomed to sitting longer, 40 minutes, an hour, it can be really beneficial just doing short sessions. So find a position for your hands. Checking in through the whole body, awareness, Kaya Sati, sense of poise, verticality, still a sense of groundedness through the lower body now, but the upper body is moving, rising up through the element to the sky, through the element to the sky. You can close your eyes. And then becoming aware of the in-breath and the out-breath, so Anapanasati. I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out. And really just let the breath move through you. Feeling the body, feeling the breath. Sense of ease, gentleness, pleasure, quiet pleasure in your body, in the breath. And then I want us to expand awareness out into the physical space that we're in. Just being aware of the walls of the room that you're in, or the space that you're in, surroundings. Also being aware of us, as it were, gathered together through this class, different parts of the world, different corners, sense of connection. You can even bear in mind Sylvia, who's in Holland, who's practicing this class later on. Really a sense of each out breath, sense of letting go. Each in breath, a sense of breathing, each of us in, breathing in. Beings, letting go. Sense of gentleness with the out breath. Breathing in human beings, living being, breathing out kindness. Just ringing the bell now, so when you're ready, I'm going to bring this session to a close. So no rush. So do feel free to go back into Shavasana for a few minutes if you've got time to do that. Not rushing into the next thing, taking your time to move into the next thing. Hopefully you're going into a wind down now for the evening. Thank you very much, and see you next week. Okay, so it's me next week. Salaj will do the class on the 27th. He's just finally set off in his journey in the van, which he's happy about. Okay, so thank you. I'm just gonna stay on because I'm gonna have a little chat with Sandra, so I'll just stop the recording.